When the Second World War erupted in 1939, the flames of conflict spread across continents. Europe called upon its colonies for soldiers, and Africa answered. From towns, villages, and kingdoms across the continent, thousands of young African men were taken. Some recruited with promises of pay, others forced by colonial officers. Many had never left their homeland before, yet they found themselves marching to distant battlefields for a war that was not theirs. They trained under harsh conditions. Their boots were worn, their uniforms old, their pay uncertain. They were commanded by officers who did not see them as equals. Yet their courage was fierce. These soldiers became known as the King's African Rifles in the East, the West African Frontier Force in the West, and the Senegalese Tirailleurs in French colonies. They were sent to North Africa, Europe, and the deep jungles of Burma. The battles they fought were brutal. In Burma, they marched through thick forests where rain fell endlessly, and malaria struck like a silent hunter. Food was scarce, the land was hostile, and the enemy was relentless. In the deserts of North Africa, they faced tanks, artillery, and airstrikes far beyond anything they had ever known. Many saw airplanes for the first time only when those planes dropped bombs upon them. Yet they did not break. African soldiers stood their ground, fought with discipline, and earned respect through sacrifice. They helped turn battles, secure victories, and push back invading forces. Their role was real. Their bravery was undeniable. But when the war finally ended in 1945, the world celebrated without them. Europe rang church bells and held parades. Statues were raised for generals and kings. Meanwhile, African soldiers returned home quietly. There were no parades, no medals, no public honor. Many did not receive the wages they had been promised. Some who demanded their pay, like those in the tragic Thiaroye incident in Senegal, were met not with thanks, but with bullets. They returned to homelands, still under colonial rule, lands where they still had no political voice and no recognized rights. The war had ended, but their struggle had not. Yet something had changed within them. They had seen the world. They had fought beside Europeans. They had learned the truth. They were not inferior. If they were strong enough to defend empires, then they were strong enough to fight for their own freedom. And so these forgotten soldiers became seeds of a new movement. Their experiences inspired courage across Africa. The struggle for independence took root in their memories and in the stories they shared. From west to east, from North to Central Africa, movements for liberation grew stronger, fueled by the men who once fought under foreign flags. Today, we remember them, the African soldiers who crossed oceans and deserts, who endured hunger and pain, who risked everything in a war that was not theirs. They were not honored in their time, but their legacy lives in the freedom of the nations that later rose. They were more than soldiers. They were the silent architects of Africa's independence. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and share, and don't forget to subscribe for more Untold African History Story.